Many of us would like to have a dog that's the ultimate travelling companion, a real road warrior. But I have a feeling that before I head out on the highway, there are some do's and don'ts that I should take into consideration. And that's why I've called on my good friend and dog expert Martin Deely to help me navigate down the road of puppy travel. Hi Martin, good to see you again.
Nice to be here, Jim. I hear you would like a little bit of advice on travelling with your dog.
Absolutely. I'm guessing there are certain things you need to remember before you hit the open road with a puppy.
Well, you're right. For puppies, really, travel can be quite a traumatic experience. This kind of acceleration, this kind of braking that we put on can get the dog going about quite a bit. But the good news is that with a little bit of training, we can get them so they're rushing into the car and saying, come on, let's go for a trip somewhere.
So Martin, let's start from the beginning. What's the first thing I need to know to get my puppy, well, up to speed?
It's a good question, Jim. And in fact, people often forget that the most important thing is when you first pick them up. First time in the car, you know, you've been to the pet shop, you've been to your breeders maybe, and all of a sudden you're riding home and you never even think about the fact that's the first experience in the car.
Right.
And so really make sure you've got a towel, but more important, have a friend to hold the dog.
Right.
And just like people, of course, we want the dog to be safe.
So tell me, what are my options when it comes to puppy restraints in the car? I mean, it's not like cars have doggy seatbelts as a standard option.
Well, cars have seatbelts and dogs have seatbelts. So you can actually fasten the dog seatbelt to your car seatbelt. My friend George here, who's absolutely gorgeous. George.
He is absolutely gorgeous, you're right.
I'm going to just lift him up because I've got a harness on him.
Okay.
And it's a dog safety harness. Okay? You see?
Right.
Dog safety harness. He's got a safety harness. You've got safety belts.
Yeah.
We clip the safety belts through the safety harness, and all of a sudden you've got a safe dog in the back seat.
Fantastic.
Okay? It's easy.
Puppy seatbelt,
That's right.
standard option.
So if you make a sudden stop now or have the misfortune of getting in an accident, this fella's not a projectile coming from the back.
Right. Yeah. Now, what should I do if my puppy takes after me and is a little claustrophobic being in a car?
Well, sometimes, you know, they don't always like the harness, so we have to get them used to that. We can wear it in the house.
Yeah.
We can put them in the car with us and sit in the car with them.
Yeah.
Have a cup of coffee, read a book, make sure the air conditioning is on, of course, and things like that.
None of my puppies drink coffee, but it's
a good idea.
Okay.
So when you've got some kind of thought of that in there and he's nice and comfortable, then you can move forward. Praise him when he's good, praise him when he's calm, and get him familiar with it.
Right. And I suppose the more comfortable you are, the more comfortable they are then.
That's true.
Yeah.
The other thing is, of course, try and make your trips very, very short when you start.
Uh-huh.
Round the block, maybe to the park, just a little walk, back again, maybe have some dinner then afterwards. Associate it with pleasure, not with going to the vets the first time, because a needle in the neck and something at the other part.
Associations.
Now,
are there any other options for car travel that I should be considering?
Well, you know, I like a travel kennel. I've got an SUV. I lock them into the back of the SUV. The dogs go in there. It's their own little place, their own little den. It's enclosed. They feel comfortable and safe.
Yeah. So after my puppy's comfortable on short trips, then I can build up to longer, you know, cross-country, round-the-world travel.
Certainly. It won't be long before puppy is saying, oh, car keys, garage door opening, I'm on my way. And they love to jump in.
Get excited by it.
Yeah. Train them actually to wait before going in and wait before coming out.
Right.
And don't forget also for the pit stops. We do need a little bit of a pee and a poop at times.
Right, so you become their personal pit crew.
I'd like to think of you being more of his kind of crew chief, looking after him.
Great. Well, Martin, these are excellent tips as always. Is there anything else we haven't covered that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I suppose it goes without saying, but we always forget. Every year we get dogs who die, unfortunately, in cars or get seriously ill through leaving them in too long.
Dehydration.
Dehydration, overheating, and as I say, we get some really bad accidents. So don't leave your pup anytime in an unattended car in any kind of condition.
Well, that's advice that's far too important not to follow. Well, I feel quite good now about getting my motor running, heading out on the highway. But what about air travel? If I'm flying with my dog, I mean not literally flying with my dog, but on an airplane, are there any different rules we need to know?
It's a good question, because I've flown a lot of dogs across the Atlantic, and what you've got to remember is that they've got to have the papers, they've got to have vaccinations up to date, a veterinary certificate is important, and the airline needs to see all this stuff, and it's better if you can fly them in the early morning, late evening when it's cooler on the tarmacs if you've got to wait. And also I like a direct flight. Small dogs under 20 pounds, I think in European money that's 8 kilograms or something like that. You can put them under the seat in a special carrier, but others have to go inside the storage holds.
Spoken like a true expert who knows his own field of expertise. Thank you so much for your time, Martin. It was a pleasure as always.
Well, Jim, just remember that traveling with your puppy is a pleasure. It's always a pleasure once the dog gets used to it, as long as you teach him how to behave in your car.
I will do. Okay, it's time for today's Eukanuba 5-star recap. 1. Safety first. Keep your puppy secure with a dog seat belt or travel kennel. 2. Start small. Keep trips short at first and build up to longer ones. And don't forget potty breaks. 3. Don't let your puppy ride shotgun. Like kids, dogs are safer in the back seat. 4. Beat the heat. Never leave your puppy alone in an unventilated car. 5. Early and directly. Try to travel by plane early in the mornings and on direct flights whenever possible. We'll see you next time on the Puppy Training Series here on Eukanuba TV, dedicated to making good dogs great.